What's going on, guys? My name is Nick Saka, and in this video I'm going to talk about whether or not getting my degree in business management was worth it for me. Stay tuned. So if this is your first time tuning in, guys, my name is Nick Saka. I happen to be here at UNLV, the University of Las Vegas, Nevada, where I obtained my bachelor's degree in business management. And it took me 7.5 years to get this degree, a super long time. I came here on a scholarship, I lost that scholarship, I earned it back, and then I lost it again. Don't ask me why, after you lose it twice, you didn't get it back. And so because of that, it didn't make sense financially to keep going here when there's a community college that are offering the same exact classes at literally a fraction of the cost. So I ended up finishing my associates over at that community college, which I like to call it extended high school, and then I ended up coming back here to UNLV to finish my bachelor's degree. And fast forward to where I'm at today, I own multiple insurance agencies here in town. I started a fitness brand called Barbells and Briefcases, and we're absolutely crushing it. Now, did I necessarily need my degree to be where I'm at today? No, but today I'm going to talk about some of the things that I loved about college and some of the things that I hated about college and whether or not my business degree was worth it. So why did it take me 7.5 years to get my degree? Well, I don't like debt. I don't like going into debt, especially for a degree that I was uncertain that was necessarily going to pay off. Like, if you're uncertain now, and I was uncertain back in like 2010, 2015, that it was going to pay off for me as well. And so I was going at a slow pace. I was working for a bank at the time. The bank was actually helping me with some of the tuition costs, and I was delivering pizzas on the weekend. I was just doing everything that I could to make sure that I would eliminate those costs. I would pay for the semester on a credit card and try to work my ass off to pay that bad boy off by the end of the semester. And I did my best to make sure that I incorporated as little as debt as possible, because I just don't like debt, and I don't believe in going into massive amounts of debt to get your degree. Now, what did I love about school? What did I love about college? I love the connections. I love getting to know people. This is the student union right here, so I remember there was a ton of fun stuff going on here. I loved going to basketball games, the football games. I loved just really connecting and making friendships with a ton of people that I'm still friends with today. And that's probably the best part. I did enjoy the college experience. Now, over at the community college, like I said, it was extended high school, so there wasn't that college spirit per se. But here at UNLV, there was definitely a ton of that going on, and I enjoyed being here on campus and connecting with people and all that fun, skateboarding through campus. I did all that stuff, and I really enjoyed that part of college. I enjoyed the relationships. I really liked just a handful, and I mean by like counting on one hand the amount of professors that I actually did take something away from, a couple of professors that really did teach me a couple of great things as far as managing people and leadership and running a business. But more often than not, I really wasn't learning a lot. And if you're going to school for business management, you're not really learning, in my opinion, about how to actually run a business. I mean, in my opinion, I want to learn from people that are doing it actively in 2020 or and beyond, right? So I enjoyed that. I was very proud of the fact that I got to start something and finish it. I was proud that I was the first one in my family to get their degree, to hopefully maybe inspire my siblings and maybe my future kids and things like that. Those are some of the positives of my college experience. Now, let's get into some of the negatives. College is super expensive. That's the first negative. The second negative is that it's super expensive. And you know what the third negative is? It's super friggin' expensive. And with college being so expensive and you potentially having to go into debt to get your degree, is it worth, is it going to pay off? Like, are you going to find something? Are you guaranteed a gig? Sure, you're going to meet a bunch of cool people and you may have a connection into a certain gig, but in 2020, and especially when I graduated, it wasn't certain that I was going to get plugged into something and it be automatic, right? And this is for the degree in business management. Some of you guys might be going to school to be an eye doctor, a dentist, an accountant, or something in the nursing industry, and that usually pays off. The likelihood of getting plugged into something is a little bit better than the vague industry of, or the vague, degree of business or marketing and things like that. And so this is just in my experience, I didn't really have a clear-cut path into getting plugged into something. And so with college being so expensive, that's why I took my time with it. That's why it took me 7.5 years so I could pay as I would go, because I had no certainty that I was going to be able to land that 6-figure job and everything was going to be fine. So the negatives are the obvious, that school is super expensive and there's a lot of uncertainty today that you're going to get plugged into something. In 2020, the average student debt is about $36K, and that's a monthly payment of like anywhere from $400 to $600 depending on the interest rate. And so with all of that, you have to determine for yourself if it's worth it for you or not. Now, do I think that if I could go back, was UNLV or was getting my bachelor's degree worth it for me, for someone that knew he wanted to be an entrepreneur? My answer is no, it wasn't, because that 7.5 years, all that, I probably spent anywhere from $40,000 to finish school. That could have gone towards a business. There's that opportunity cost of 7.5 years could have gone towards maybe fumbling around, maybe going into a commission-based sales job where I could earn over 6 figures until I got that clarity to find what kind of business I eventually wanted to operate, and then I'd have the resources and the experience. So if you're going to school to be an entrepreneur, I don't know if that's worth it. Now, management, possibly. In management, you can get your degree and you can go work for someone, and there can be a lot of upside. But if you're not going to school if you're going to school to run a business, you're better off just quitting and going and starting your business, or just fumbling around, get into a highly compensated commission job where you can earn enough money to figure out what business you want to do. And that's my advice for mainly the entrepreneurial spirited, the guys that know deep down in their heart, like myself, that I just want to run a business, and the degree isn't necessarily worth it. I mean, of course you'll meet a couple people, but that's my advice for entrepreneurs. But my advice for anyone else that's uncertain and they want to get their marketing degree, they want to get their international business degree, is get your degree, but get resourceful and try to do it with as the least amount of debt as possible, because debt is stupid. I don't agree with it, and not even for unless it's good debt, unless it's real estate debt, or unless it's business debt, things that you're going to use that you're going to get an ROI on. School, the ROI isn't quite there in my opinion, but my ultimate ingredient is to finish school debt-free as possible, apply to scholarships, apply for all sorts of grants and things to make you get through debt-free. Learn on the job. To me, when I'm hiring and I'm doing the hiring, I look for experience. I'm not looking for the degree. The degree is a cool cherry on the top. But in my business, I'm looking for experience. I want to know that I want people in my business that have been in the trenches and haven't read theories about the trenches. You see what I'm saying? And so my ultimate advice is that even if it takes you longer to get that degree, is to go get your degree, do it with the least amount of expenses and debt as possible, and to work while you're doing it. Because to me, the candidates that have that experience and that degree are a lot more impressive to me than the candidates that just have that degree. So in conclusion, in my early success, I learned so much more through my 7-year banking career. I took way more out of fumbling around in businesses that came and gone and I failed at. I learned way more from podcasts and books and making YouTube my best friend. I learned way more through becoming an effective salesperson and really mastering the game of sales. I learned so much more through self-development and really just being eager to learn and have my own self-education versus anything that I've ever learned at a university. I've taken way more through the personal experience and seeking mentors and getting around great people than I ever learned at this university. However, I'm grateful for the people that I met here. I'm grateful for the college experience. I'm grateful for the great memories that I had here at school. But ultimately, I took away so much more on things I did on my own time, through failures that just fumbling in business and life on my own time than I ever learned here on this campus, and the relationships were great, but ultimately I learned a lot more through getting into business, and I've learned more in the last 4.5 years being a successful business owner than I ever have in the past. And so I'm grateful for the experience, and it all seemed to have worked out. But my advice for you guys is that if you know in your heart and soul that you're meant to be a business owner and you're meant to be an entrepreneur, and quit school and go at it, go at it tomorrow. But if your goal is to not be a business owner and you don't have that clarity yet, do so with as least debt as possible, and you'll thank me later. So if you've listened this far, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe for future videos and for weekly content, and comment what your thoughts are. You might agree with me, you might disagree. I look forward to engaging with all of you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Peace.